Hello everyone, this is Persephone. I haven't been uploading here because I was honestly so angry that I was feeling that no matter what I try to film and I upload it, it's just going to give me a strike. And I didn't also want to edit any of the hundreds of other crap that I have filmed and they are stored in my laptop. So today I want to make a video that is going to be Black Pill on steroids. If you are into Black Pill series, this is the video for you. Follow up to what happened with my decision to quit Fandom and how the reactions were again a very ugly manifestation of the ugliest parts of human nature that I want to point out because we can protect ourselves against something if we pretend it doesn't exist. There was some kind of 700 IQ hater who told me I'm cringe and I overshare because if you pretend that things don't happen, you're going to feel better. I'm going to say this person can continue to pretend, preferably far away from my channel, and I'm going to keep things real. No further intro. I'm not going to make this video about Fandom. I'm using this because it was the trigger to what I discovered and what I want to share. Right after I announced that I don't want to do Fandom anymore because it has damaged my mental health, there were a bunch of people coming to my OnlyFans and coming to my other media to constantly bargain my decision and saying, how about doing only on text? How about doing only custom videos? How about doing only Skype shows? Every day I had to reassert my boundaries. Every day I said no is a full sentence. I had to restrict and block several people after the third day or the fourth day that they kept saying these things. Another thing that kept happening was that people expected to be the golden unicorn that I'm going to be making an exception for. For example, people saying, oh, I really enjoyed doing Fandom with you 2 years ago and I hope we can continue now. Why? If anything, there is equality when it comes to my fans. If I'm not going to do it for the others, you're not going to be special. And all of that started making me so triggered that I deleted my Twitter and I started a different Twitter that is going to be essentially only retweets of my video sales on many vids, and the reason for that is that I did not want these people to be able to still follow me and associate myself with them. And I felt that I'm becoming a weak, out of control person. I started to ask myself, why do these people bother me so much? Essentially, they're just internet strangers. And if they see me as just as a product, someone to just have a quick release watching, or someone that they think they can talk out of their decision for their own life, they shouldn't matter. They normally don't matter. So why do I feel so depressed and angry and out of control? And I realized that this is triggering my past trauma with my family, that if I didn't have money, it would be very, very much ongoing trauma. I have probably the most adversarial, conflict-loving, Handmaid's Tale promoting family on the planet. I kid you not. And it was like that ever since I can remember. And this is not just a video for me to rant, although complaining online does feel cathartic, but I share these things, I overshare to quote the haters, because I want to give courage to other people living in the same situation. I want to help people who lived in the same secrecy, in the same shame, and in the same confusion and anger that I used to live for years. And to also help wake up people who suffer every day and they don't know what's wrong and they end up being sucked by cancerous philosophies such as antinatalism, nihilism, misanthropy, and other crap. Misanthropy is the pinnacle of weakness because you cannot be essentially alone forever and you end up being sucked back by the narcissist or the toxic person. Don't be a misanthrope. Now that this small rant is over, let me go back to what I meant. My father is the type of person that if you could actually start Gilead tomorrow, he would. He is a misogynist, he is a patriarch, and I'm currently extremely pissed off at him because I tend to really dislike people that when truth slaps them in the face, they still refuse to see it. I'm going to share with you a story that I found out recently from my father again about one of my cousins. I have an older cousin, she's married with 2 children, and she's the polar opposite of me. She is the life script worshipper. She grew up in the very patriarchal, I'm not going to say words that they're going to cause a strike, Eastern European culture that I come from. she's a devoted Christian, I'm not, and she married right after college to some guy and she has 2 kids. And she works, I'm going to say that, I'm not going to say more to not dogs here, but she works at the kindergarten. She loves children, so it was a suitable job for her. Here is where things start to derail. After a few years of marriage and 2 kids, the guy lost sexual interest in her. That's one reason why I'm extremely anti-marriage currently, because people fall out of love, people stop having sexual feelings for each other, and then you end up trapped. So the guy started straying and cheating. Because she's a Christian, she cannot divorce him. The other thing that happened is that the guy was a singer, he was singing at various events, and because of COVID, he was also unemployed for 2 years. They were struggling with only her salary. She struggles to keep her house, she has a mortgage, and she would lose the house if relatives didn't try to help her. And long story short, she has become extremely overweight, she's battling clinical depression. Her husband isn't even at home, and she is the sole breadwinner and caretaker of 2 small children. And people would say, we live in such an unfair world, she's a good person, she's not cheating, she's not lying, she's working hard, and she's living a life that I would shoot myself in the head 1 hour into it. So where did things go wrong? People start having all of these complicated conversations about how life is suffering, how you should be an antinatalist, all of that delusional products of sick minds. And I have to say that life was not naturally horrible for this person, and she made a bunch of choices who trapped her because she made the huge mistake of listening to other people and not using her own head and her own eyes. By using her head and her eyes, I'm saying that if everyone around you makes this choice and ends up cheated to an overwhelming percentage, or unhappy or poor, aka working 9-to-5 job for the public system, you shouldn't assume that it won't happen to you. Now you're going to say, okay, Persephone, we're sorry for your cousin, how the hell does this story even connect to the previous one? I'm going to get there, please bear with me. There was extreme pressure to me growing up to be exactly like this cousin. I was treated as a failure, I was physically abused, I was emotionally abused, I had to live without heat in the winter and cooling in the summer to break my will, to force me to go back home, to force me to marry someone and have kids, because that's what you do, that's the purpose of human beings according to the Gilead patriarchs, and I didn't do it. And that was very, very similar to what happened with the disappointed fans. Every day I have to reassert my boundaries. Not every day now, because I don't live with these people and I'm not in contact with them practically, but every time we have any kind of interaction, it's like they never heard my boundaries, they never heard who I am, and they treat my boundaries as a tool for negotiation. The same way all of these people who harassed me online to try to talk me out of Fandom do it, the exact same way. And I wasn't able to put 2 and 2 together, and I connected the strings and I realized that no is a full sentence. Now I know what the haters are going to write before they even write it. I know they're going to say, oh, you talk so high and mighty, but this woman doesn't have an OnlyFans and you do, and this woman didn't show her body for money and you did, and this woman has a failed marriage and you have 2 failed marriages, so who are you to say you are better than her? I don't consider myself better than her. I consider myself different than her. But there is a difference. All of my mistakes and all of my choices, good and bad, it's subjective, it depends on how you see it, at least they are mine. At least when I am on my deathbed, I will know that I lived my life as a thinking being responsible for my destiny, instead of being a human sock puppet with a bunch of useless men telling me what to do. Because this is just the patriarchy, beaten down women and useless men. Also, the patriarchy actually harms a lot of men, despite the fact that they don't see it. For example, gay men, feminine men, beta men. You're also victims of the patriarchy, of this oppressive stereotype. Because at the end of the day, when you go work at a company, for example, and there is the alpha male, the CEO, or the patriarch in the family, all the other men have to suck it up to him. So you're not as powerful as you think. Do not make this video a total rant, and this is not about feminism. My point is that this is something that I don't see it talked about anywhere. About these people, that they actually try to break down your boundaries day after day. It doesn't just happen to me. It's not just because people are going to say everyone who is a fan of Fandom is just the worst scam on earth, and all of the other insane comments that I get online that I have put all of these curse words on spam so YouTube just filters them, because you can get in trouble for the things that people write in your comments. But I read some from time to time. You had such a bad experience because you invited the worst possible man into your life virtually, and that's why it happens. No, that's not it. All the people in school who tried to break down and tell me who I am because I was not like them, all the toxic friends, all the toxic boyfriends, and my family who is, for me, if you ask me what is the first word that comes into your mind when you hear the word family, my first word would be burden, and my second word would be enemy, oppressor. My parents will die and they will have no idea who I am. Not because I was hiding it, quite the opposite. I have Asperger's, it's all out there, because they never saw it. They never accepted it. They saw it at best when there was overwhelming evidence that I'm not neurotypical or normal. My father would just invalidate himself and brush it off as, it's just a phase, she's going to grow out of it. And guess what? Years passed and I did not grow out of it, because that's who I am. You can't change your nature. And now he's having some kind of internal crisis, because out of all of the losers he knows who are like him, patriarchal, controlling, promoting enmeshment, all of their kids came back home defeated, and I'm still not home, and I'm not going to be home. I would much rather go sleep on the tent in the woods than live with him ever again. That took amounts of willpower and subjecting myself into suffering and adversity that I'm thinking that maybe one day I should write a script or a book based on my life. Not exactly like an autobiography, because it would be too extreme, I think. But if I included some of the incidents, it would be a horror show. So that made me realize that it's very, very difficult to make your own decisions in this world. And surprisingly, despite the internet and the global connection and the world becoming a smaller place, I felt that it has become harder. That in the past I had the 10 loons in my family invalidating my decision, and now I have 1,000 loons, 2,000 loons. There are people every day walking up to me to say, hey, have you considered becoming this type of Fandom goddess? Or hey, have you decided to do it less maybe? Like, why are we even discussing it? Did I come to you to discuss your job choice or your partner choice or your sexuality? There was even someone who was coming to me saying that if you are attracted to trans people, you should be pansexual and not bisexual, because trans men are not real men. Like, I'm sorry, are these people walking up discussing other people's sexuality? I don't know where this is coming from. I see it becoming as more and more widespread. That's why I want to talk about it, because I feel that it happens to a lot of people. And essentially, first of all, it makes you have the personality of a wet paper towel. You end up afraid to express your opinion, or you end up beaten down. There are times where I just blocked people without responding them some days, because I was tired of having to reassert my boundary for a millionth time. There were times when I was thinking maybe I shouldn't have said anything. Maybe I should just have become one of those mistresses that they share those fake lying stories before they disappear. The mistresses would say, oh, I have to move far, far away, so I can't be your mistress anymore, bye, and then they disappear. Or the mistresses who just completely abandon their social media one day and ghost. I used to look down on these people. I'm honest with you. I used to look very, very down on them and say you call yourself an alpha and then you ghost your subs. And now I started to think, oh my God, did they knew what I did not know? Like, am I going to hear this nagging, whining, emotional blackmail every day for the rest of my life? I don't want to do emotional labor for other people. I don't want to do it for anyone. I don't want to do emotion regulation. That's what emotional labor essentially is. You have to modify your reaction to make other people feel better, to micromanage their emotions, and same time manage your emotions. The same way when there is a plane about to crash, the flight attendant has to manage her emotions and she has to calm the passengers down. That's a very good example of emotional labor. Well, I don't want to do that shit for anyone. That's one reason I would never become a therapist. I don't have the patience. I want to help people. If I have tools, if I have ideas or suggestions, or if I have resources, I want to help you do the work to manage your own emotions. I know there are many influencers who do that. There are many YouTubers who do that. I don't do that stuff. First of all, identify these people who don't accept you for who you are, and they try to chat up your boundaries with you or chat up your life decisions with you. Second, come up with a plan to just talk about how you're not going to accept this once, not even twice, just once. And then find a way to cut off and avoid these people from your life as much as possible, or lie to them if you have to. So I want to ask you, is it just me? Is it my style that attracts crazy people, or people just become crazy after interacting with me? Because I cannot completely exclude the possibility that I'm the problem here. Do you have people that they never accept who you are, or every time you try to make a change, they never accept it? At the end of the day, there was also someone who said, you are contradicting yourself because you made the video saying people will never make me quit, and then here you are and you quit Fandom and you got triggered. I meant people will never make me quit social media in general. I have such a big range of things I'm interested in, and Fandom is just a very small one. So if you think that I quit because I quit Fandom, then I think you misunderstood, or I think that there are these people who just see me as a product. That I'm going to be someone, you think that I'm going to be an old woman like 70 years from now talking about your small dick still, or talking about your dick and chastity still. I have said everything I had to say in this topic. I'm bored out of my freaking mind, and I want to move on to different pastures. And I'm so sure there are plenty of capable people in this profession who can do things better than me. In a similar way with my demented family, there are plenty of women who are much more capable of having many children. I don't need to have children. Maybe there are people who are not autistic and they're much better suited for marriage. So instead of trying to fit yourself desperately into something that you have zero aptitude, maybe it's better to try to use the stuff that you're actually good at to do some positive change, or at least some meaningful change. And I'm going to tell you something people are not going to like. Do you feel any empathy towards my cousin? I mean, this is something that people would ask me, or actually this is something that my father became mad at me when I said, I don't feel sorry for her. She made her own bed, she just lay in it, and he said, you're such a cruel person and she's so unlucky. No, she's not unlucky. Bad choices tend to accumulate. So it's like I'm driving in the opposite lane, blindfolded, and then I get into a car crash, and then I'm saying, oh my God, how did this happen? When you marry extremely young to some guy you don't know well, and you have a job that has a piss poor salary at best, you're setting yourself up for massive failure. So I don't say that I'm like this schadenfreude person. I don't feel happy that she failed in her life because she didn't do anything bad at me, but I feel kind of neutral. In a sense of bad choice after bad choice after bad choice, I'm not going to have a surprised Pikachu face, and that's why I stopped doing these choices. Of course, 70 years from now, 50 years from now, maybe my choices are also going to be extremely bad, but at least they're going to be mine. How many of your choices are they truly yours? If you didn't have these people wearing you down and negotiating your boundaries, and pretending they know you and talking over you, or this enmeshed mother of the beta man that she says, you're a good boy, you will never leave mommy, XYZ religion says this, would you still be the same person? What would you do? For me, I'm telling you, if I die tomorrow, I would look back and I would say, at least I tried. How many people can even say that? How many people can even say, at least I tried? Can you say, at least you tried? Have you really tried? What else is there to try that you haven't already tried? Maybe there are people who are NPCs, who are not really human, and they go around doing the same 3 tasks in the live script, and it has meaning for them. I don't judge that. But for me, I felt like an alien in this family and in this society ever since I was born, and all of these people who are now becoming unhappy, the same people who said to my father, why isn't she coming back, with bitterness? Because when I was talking about self-employment and working online and not working a 9 to 5 that you hate for pocket change, the same people were calling me mentally ill. And now there are people who call me and they want my help to start careers on social media, and I charge them $100 for 30 minutes. And they curse me, they say, why so much? I knew you from before you were online. Because my time isn't for free. And because if you were nice to me back then, and if you said even something generic as, I hope you make it, or I don't know much about it, but if you feel it's for you, you should go for it, instead of shaming me, maybe I would be even doing it for free, because I would consider you a friend. But now, the clock is ticking, TikTok, $100, blame the late stage capitalist dystopia, not me, I have cats to help. So this is it for today. I don't know if this video helped. I just needed to get it off my chest to start editing my other videos, because I don't want this YouTube to become a wasteland. I'm very happy for the tsunami of new subscribers that we have. Please continue subscribing, and as long as your comments are well thought, well written, and something that you would not be embarrassed to see next to your real name, they are most welcome. Thank you for watching.